So what is web? Web is nothing but the collection of web page. What about web browser? It's the application software. To access web page, I must have the software. If two or more systems want to communicate each other, then they must have the markup language. Computers can be connected in the form of HTTP. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on Introduction to .NET Technology. I'm your Revati ma'am, faculty from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, in my last session, I started with introduction about the subject. In that session, we have discussed total number of units along with that internal question paper pattern, then external exam question paper pattern and lab sessions. But in my today's class, I'm going to deal with introduction to web technology. Along with that, I'm going to deal with the internet and World Wide Web. Along with that, some of the very important terms of web technology. So dear student, what is web technology? So what is web? Anyway, we are familiar with the word web. So what it is? It is nothing but the collection of web page. So what is web? Web is nothing but the collection of web page. Now what kind of web page? Either it may be static web page or dynamic web page. Now in daily life, most frequently we are going to use web. Fine. Now what about web technology? Suppose if two systems want to communicate each other, then they are going to communicate only through the markup language. So if I want to develop any web page, which programming language I'm using? That is markup language. So here web technology refers to the means by which computers, so two or more than two systems are communicating each other using markup language and multimedia package. So it gives the way to interact. Suppose if two systems want to interact, how they are going to interact? That is through the web technology. And the question arises where all this web page or web are stored and how we are going to interact. So dear student, to deploy or to store all the web page, we are going to have the server. So we will store all the web pages in that server. So a collection of web page is nothing but the website. Now how we are going to interact with that website or web page? That is by sending the query. So we are going to send the request. In return, we are going to get the response from the web server. So it gives us a way in which we can able to interact with the hosted informations like website. So what is website? It's nothing but the collection of web page. Web technology mainly involves HTML. So all the web pages are designed using markup language, and the most commonly used markup language here is HTML. So what is this HTML? H stands for hyper, T stands for text, M stands for markup, L stands for language, and cascading style sheet. If I want to provide the style, then I'm going to use cascade style sheet. And if we study in depth about CSS, then we have the different types of CSS. But in this unit, we won't focus more about CSS. Now, the internet and www. Till now, we were discussing about web technology. And web technology is nothing but the way used to communicate with the computers. So, if two or more systems want to communicate each other, then they must have the markup language. Agree? Okay, fine. Now, if two systems want to communicate, the two systems must require internet connection. Okay, fine. So, the term internet and World Wide Web. So, most frequently, we are going to use the word internet and World Wide Web. So, what is internet? Before that, tell me, what is network? A group of nodes or devices are connected each other to communicate and share the resource, that is network. Then what about internet? What is the difference between internet and network? See here, internet is nothing but the massive. That is nothing but the huge network. In other term, I can tell it is network of network. Anyway, dear student, you are familiar with the type of network. That is local area network, wide area network and metropolitan area network. Now, network of network that can be formed by using these three types of network. So, the internet is a massive network of network that is used to connect millions of computers worldwide. So, throughout the world, we can able to connect the computers through the network. So, internet is nothing but the vast or huge or massive amount of network. Okay. Now, computers can be connected in the form of HTTP. What is HTTP? Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So, these are the protocol. So, what is protocol? Protocol is nothing but the set of rules, set of procedures used to govern the communication media. Okay, suppose if I want to communicate with some other system, what I want to do? I want to follow the protocol. Without protocol, I am not able to interact with other system. So, protocols are nothing but the set of rules used to govern the communication media. Example here is HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. FTP, File Transfer Protocol, and so on. Then what about World Wide Web? There is nothing but the www. Okay, so 3W. It's a repository. So, what is repository? It's a storage. Okay, so this www holds huge amount of web. So, what is World Wide Web? It's a repository. So, it's a system of interlinked. It's a system of interlinked hypertext. So, what is hypertext here? There's nothing but the web page or website. Okay, so hypertext, it's a web. Hypertext documents and programs that can be accessed via the internet using HTTP. So, what is www? It's a repository that holds hypertext document and program. So, that stores hypertext document along with that programs. And the content which is present in the www If I want to access, how I am going to access? That is through the hypertext transfer protocol. Now, see, these are the most commonly used web terminology. So, what is web page? HTML, web server, web page, URL, protocol, internet, that is IP, HTTP. So, these are the most commonly used web terminology. So, what is web page? It's a document. It's a document, a single document or single page that is designed using any markup language. When I have group of web page, then that is termed as website. So only one page that is designed using any markup language. Here, what is HTML? Hypertext markup language. This is the most commonly used markup language to design the web page. And what kind of web page we can able to design by using HTML? That is static. So what is static here? Static is nothing but the fixed. Whatever the content I'm going to get in that page, that is fixed. So contents are not going to change. Now web server, it's a server. Okay, the capacity of the system is very large. The configuration is also high. So I'm going to consider one system as server and I'm going to configure that system as server, where I'm going to deploy all the web or website. Then what about web browser? It's an application software. To access web page, I must have the software. Example, Google Chrome, Mozilla, Opera, etc. So it's an application software. Then URL. Uniform Resource Locator. Okay. Then protocol. Protocol is nothing but the set of rules used to govern the communication media. Then IP address. See, consider this one is your internet. And I have plenty of computers in this network. Okay, see here, if I want to identify each system uniquely, what I want to do? I want to assign some unique identification number. Okay, so here I am going to assign the number, say it is 1. For this, I'll assign the number 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, fine. If I want to identify the system, how I am going to identify? By the number 2. So, this unique identification number itself known as IP address. And in IP address, we are going to follow the dotted notation. See here, if I consider the example 192.168.0.2. So, this is the IP address of this machine. Then HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's a protocol used to access the website or web. Without this HTTP, I'm not able to access the web page or website. So, these are the terminology most commonly we are going to use in our daily life. Okay, fine. Now, see, I have the web page. As I told you that it is a document. It's a single document or single page which can be displayed in web browser. Think that this is my single document. And to display this document, I require web browser. Okay, and this document is designed by using any markup language. Okay, any markup language. So, example for web browsers are Google Chrome, Opera, Microsoft Internet Explorer, or Edge, or Apple's Safari. So, these are called just page. How we are going to call? I am going to call this web page as page. And to display the content, what I required? I required web browser. So, what is web browser? It's an application software. Okay, fine. Then what about website? See, I have only one document. This is my web page. Okay, fine. If I have same kind of document 4 to 5 together, okay, then I'm going to move from one pages to another. Then this is known as website. So, collection of web page is known as website. So, what is website? Website is nothing but the collection of web pages which are grouped together and usually connected together in various ways. In term, it is called website, or we can call by the name site. So, site and website both are same. Next, what is web server? A simple high-ended computer. Think that I have a laptop. Okay, fine. Now, is it possible to call that laptop as server? No, because to configure any system as server, I must have the high configured system. A special high end. So, what is high end? Highly qualified or highly configured computer that host a website. Host in the sense what? I can able to store that website in that computer on the internet. So, through the internet. Today we have cloud service. In early days we had web server, but nowadays the high-ended computer systems are replaced by the cloud service. Now, I'm going to have another very interesting topic, that is dynamic versus static page, that is web page. So, what is web page? It's a document. It's a single page document. To run this document, I required web browser. And I can call by the name page or web page. So, if I consider web page, I have two types of web page, dynamic and static. So, what is static? As the name itself indicates that the contents are fixed. So, whatever the content my web page includes, the contents are fixed. In the sense what? I'm not going to change the content frequently. Then what about dynamically? What is dynamic web page? So, the contents are changed randomly or dynamically. So, static web page shows the same content each time. When I open the web page, each time I'm going to get same content. For example, think that I have a web page, okay. So, my web page have the message hi, hello and good morning. Okay, fine. First time I'm going to open this web page, I'm getting the same content hi, hello, good morning. Second time, if I open same web page, same message. If I open this page 100 times, I'm going to get same message 100 times. So what it indicates that the contents remains as it is. So here the contents are fixed. Then what about dynamic web page? So as the name itself indicates that, okay, the content that can be changed each time. Okay, so when I open this web page, now think that this is my dynamic web page. Okay, when I open first time, I may get hi, hello. When I open second time, I may get hi, hello and good morning. When I open third time, I may get hello and good morning. When I open fourth time, I may get hi, good morning. See here, each time when I open the web page or when I open the website, okay, I'm going to get different content, and that is known as dynamic page. So, dynamic pages have content that can change each time they are accessed. Now, how I can able to design dynamic web page? That is through the programming language, that is markup language like PHP, Perl, ASP and JSP. These are the scripting language. Okay, the scripts in the pages run functions on the server that runs things like the date and time and database information. Okay, fine. When I want to use database or date and time, okay, each time date and time is going to change. Agree, right? So, it gives the dynamic content. And what programming language I'm using here? PHP, Perl, ASP or JSP. All the information is returned as HTML code. So here also I'm going to use HTML. Along with that, I'm going to include PHP or Perl or ASP or JSP. Okay. So, when the page gets to your browser, all the browser has to do is translate the HTML. So, when I execute or when I run web page or when I open web page, what's going to happen? It is going to translate it into HTML. So, the most commonly used web terminology here is HTML. So, what is HTML? As the name itself indicates that it's a markup language, hypertext markup language, which is used to create what kind of website? What kind of web page? That is static web page. So, HTML is the language of web page. So, most frequently, most commonly used programming language is HTML on the World Wide Web. HTML uses bracketed commands called HTML tags. So, in HTML, we are going to have the opening and closing angular bracket. And I'm going to write the command in between this opening and closing angular bracket, and that is termed as tags. HTML code can be written in a text editor. So, dear student, in early days, to write HTML, okay, we are going to use text editor like Notepad. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the HTML code in my Notepad and I'm going to run that HTML code in any web browser. But nowadays, we are going to use Sublime text tree. Okay, by using Sublime text tree, we can able to run any HTML code. Now, to save the HTML code, what extension I want to write, that is HTML or .htm. Okay, and how I'm going to open the HTML code, that is through the web browser. Okay, I can use Google Chrome or Firefox, Internet Explorer, etc. Okay, fine. Now, this is my simple HTML tag. Okay, basic HTML tag. Okay, suppose if I am writing HTML, then I want to start with the HTML tag. So, what is HTML? Hypertext Markup Language. In that, I am going to have the head. I am going to have the head section, I am going to have the body section, even I can able to write the title. So, what is title? That is nothing but the page title. And if I want to give the style, okay, I can able to give the style by using style tag. So, I can able to rendering the styles. And if I want to link, so if I want to jump from one page to another, that can be done through the link tag. And if I want to write any script, either client side script or server side script, that can be done through the script. So these are the some of the HTML tags. Now let me to discuss the simple HTML program. Okay, so dear student, if I am using text editor, so what I want to do, I want to open the notepad. Okay, fine. In notepad, I'll start with the HTML. Inside HTML, I'm going to have the body, and in body tag, I'm going to write the H1. What is H1? It stands for heading 1. And I'm displaying my first heading. Okay. At the same time, I want to close the heading tag. Now, I'm writing the paragraph. For that, I'm using paragraph tag P. Then I'm going to have the paragraph, that is my first paragraph. And I'm going to close the paragraph. Then see here, I'm going to close the body tag. Then I'm going to close the HTML tag. Is it enough? No. Okay, I just typed the program. After typing program, what I have to do? I have to save the program. How I am going to save the program? For that, I am going to use the extension HTML. Okay, for example, this is my program 1. So, I'll write p1.html. Okay, fine. After saving, what I have to do? I have to run the program. For that, what I will do? Okay, right click this file. Okay, then select open with. In that, select the browser, any web browser, either Google Chrome or Opera, etc. So this is the way we can able to create HTML and we can able to run the HTML program. Anyway, okay, I'm going to have the web browser. So what is web browser? A web browser is an application program for retrieving, presenting and traversing information resource on the World Wide Web. So where I am going to store all the web related content, that is in my www. Okay, to access the content which is stored in the www, I required web browser. So information resource is identified by the uniform resource identifier. See, we know that www is nothing but the vast repository, and it includes n number of web pages. Okay, it stores n number of web page. Now, I want to identify each web page as well as website uniquely. For that, I'm going to have the URI, that is Uniform Resource Identifier. Okay, and example for web browsers are Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Firefox, Opera and Safari. And I'm going to have another very interesting topic, that is web server. So what is web server? It is a program or high-ended computer or computer machine that generates and transmits response to client request for web resource using HTTP. Okay, think that I'm going to have the web server. I'm going to have high-ended machine. Okay, now think that I'm the client. I'm going to send the request to the web server. Now, this web server is responsible for processing my request. Okay, after processing, it's going to send the response back to the client. That is in the form of response. Okay, so it's going to send the response to the client. Okay, so that is done through the HTTP protocol. Every computer on the internet that contains a website, okay, must have the web server program. If I have the website, then I must have the web server. Okay, every systems are not treated as web server because it must have high-ended computer system or it is a program. Okay, fine. So, any computer can be turned into a web server by installing server software. To configure any computer as web server, what I have to do? I have to install the server software and I want to connect that, okay, that machine to the internet. Okay, fine. Anyway, dear student, in my today's class, I started with what is web technology and some of the related terms which is related to the web technology. And in my next session, I'm going to deal with the introduction to the C#. Anyway, dear student, thank you for watching my session and let's meet in the next session with more information about web technology. Thank you.